If you are visiting Rocky Mountain National Park this year, then you probably need an entrance reservation. So today I want to walk you through the ins and outs of this process so that you don't get turned away when you get to the park. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of dirtinmyshoes, and I have made this video for timed entry reservations for Rocky Mountain 4 times. I've gone through the park at least 3 times as they've had these entrance reservations in place. And so I am very familiar with this process. I've done it myself many times, and I am here to teach you how to do it so that you can get into Rocky Mountain National Park this year. So first things first, what is the timed entry reservation? So in Rocky Mountain National Park, to get to anywhere within the national park, you need a reservation. That's just something that they have put into place to help with the crowd control. It's gotten a little bit crazy as far as just so many people trying to get into Rocky, not enough parking spaces. It's quite crowded and it's quite a big hassle actually. And so this timed entry system is to try to break up some of those crowds to get people in on more of a staggered basis so that it's not everybody trying to get into the park at once. Now, this timed entry system doesn't actually fix some of the crowding issues. You're still going to run into parking issues. Having this permit does not mean that you have a parking spot, and so you still need to have a good plan when you get to the park, but it does help with some of the crowd control. Basically, what you'll do is you'll get this timed entry reservation for a specific time of day, and you'll need that. You'll need to show it as you go through the entrance station. This timed entry reservation is not your entrance pass, and so you'll still need to pay to enter the park or show them your annual pass in addition to having this timed entry permit. This timed entry permit cannot be bought when you get to the park. You have to do it online in advance. And so that's what this video is about today, kind of walking you through that process. So I'm going to go over to the Rocky Mountain National Park website and I'm going to show you the ins and outs of getting this permit and all the information that you need to know so that you can have what you need when you go. Okay, so I'm here on Rocky Mountain's website, and I will link this webpage in the video description below, but here we are on the timed entry. And so Rocky Mountain National Park actually has 2 different timed entry reservations that you can get. You can get the basic timed entry, which gives you access to the whole park except Bear Lake. Bear Lake is this area down here, and so this whole road here you cannot get to if you only have the timed entry. This one is easier to get. It's not as competitive. Reservations are only required for a portion of the day from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can come and go as long as you enter during the initial time frame that you reserve. And this one also, you'll see here, the dates are May 23rd through October 13th, 2025. And so if you're visiting the park during these dates, then you will need one of these timed entry reservations. There's a second one here called the Timed Entry Plus. That includes the Bear Lake Road. So that is the whole park plus also this Bear Lake area. And so these ones, they are harder to get. Bear Lake is the most popular part of the park. And so if you want to get into Bear Lake, then you need to go for this one. Reservations are required from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. So very long hours on this one because this area is just so congested and there's so many people wanting to get in here. Also, you'll notice your reentry requirements are different. So when you reserve your time, say you reserve 7 a.m., you still need to enter during that time frame. And then you can't leave and come back until after 2 p.m. So just keep that in mind. These ones, again, are much harder to get because everybody wants to get into Bear Lake. That's a really popular area with a lot of great hikes. So also coming down here, you'll notice that they say that these are in effect from May 23rd through October 19th. So about a week longer as well than the timed entry. So these ones just require a lot more work and they are much more competitive to get. These timed entry reservations are only good for one day. So if you'll be in the park for multiple days, then you'll need to get one for each day. That's why, usually if you're going to be in the park for a couple of days, you might only want to go to Bear Lake for one of those days. So you'll need the timed entry plus for the day you want to go to Bear Lake. But all the other days, if you're not planning on going to Bear Lake, then you can just go for the basic timed entry. So you don't have to be getting that really competitive one every single day unless you plan on going to Bear Lake every day. But otherwise, the timed entry basic will get you everywhere else in the park besides Bear Lake. One more thing to note about this, if you're not familiar with the park, so Bear Lake is very busy. You'll need the timed entry plus for that. The Trail Ridge Road, which is this road here that goes across the park, is very busy. Either of these permit options will get you onto the Trail Ridge Road. The Old Fall River Road, you can get either. Where a lot of people have questions are these kind of small entrances. You've got Lumpy Ridge, Lily Lake, Longs Peak, Wild Basin. You've got the Eastland Inlet over here. Those smaller entrances, a lot of people get confused by those because there's not an actual entrance station leading to these entrances, but you still need to get at least a timed entry basic to get into these areas. Your timed entry plus also will get you into these areas. But in that case, you're not going to have a ranger that you're going to have to show as you go into these areas, but you will need to display a timed entry pass. They are still checking those and driving into those to make sure people have what they need. So regardless of where you go in the park, you do need one of these timed entries during those hours that I explained earlier. Okay, so after you determine the dates that you're going to Rocky and you also decide which days you'll need which entrance reservations, either the basic or the plus, then you're going to want to put into your calendar the date and time that those entrance reservations open up for you to make those reservations. Coming back to the Rocky website, so they have it all listed out here and you'll want to pay really close attention to that. So if you're hoping to visit the park during this time, let's say we're going July 14th, then your entrance reservation release time is June 1st at 8 a.m. Mountain. You have to be there right at 8 a.m. These get snatched up within seconds sometimes, depending on what time of the year you're going. And so don't put this off. Don't think that you can do it any time during this day. You need to be there right at the release time of 8 a.m. So determine your dates over here. When am I visiting Rocky? And then put this release date in your calendar so you are there and ready to go to get your reservations. When it's time to get your entrance reservations, then you're going to go over to recreation.gov, which is the website that a lot of national parks use for their reservation systems. So I personally only ever do this on my computer. They do have an app, but that app tends to lag. It doesn't give you the most up-to-date information, nor have I had very good luck getting these reservations on the app. They also have a phone number you can call, which I absolutely would not do either unless it's, last resort. Just get on your computer, go to recreation.gov and make those reservations there. So here's recreation.gov. I'm on the Rocky Mountain National Park timed entry, which I will link in this video below as well. But when you get here, that's when you'll get to decide between timed entry or timed entry plus. Whichever reservation you're hoping to get is the one that you'll click on Book Now, and you'll go through the process of getting this reservation. One thing to note about these timed entry reservations is that the person who gets the reservation must be in the vehicle. They need to be able to show ID that matches the name on the reservation, and so just make sure that you're planning for that as well. And this is where it gets pretty tricky, the actual process of getting the reservation. So if you want to see me go through the entire process, I will walk you through from start to finish how to get one of these reservations. I will also tell you which time slots I would go for that make the most sense with the schedule, and how to get parking and still avoid those crowds, because remember, this reservation just gets you into the park. It doesn't guarantee a parking space. And so the park still is very busy when you get in. So I will help you with all that with this walkthrough video that is included with my Rocky Mountain National Park itinerary on Dirt in My Shoes. This itinerary is an hour-by-hour schedule. I walk you through everything that I would do, where I would go, what time you'll need those reservations for, how to navigate that reservation system, but also how to just see the best parts of the park in the time that you have. And so you can choose a 1, 2, or 3 day to follow, and I will help you through everything you need to know to make your trip a success. That itinerary is linked in the video description below as well. Okay, so now you know what the timed entry reservation is and what you need to do to get set up so that you can get one. Now, there are some exceptions of people who won't need one of these reservations. And so I want to talk you through a few different ways to kind of work around this system so that you know whether or not you need to get one, or so that if you're not able to get one, you know how you can still get into the park. So the main way to bypass this reservation system, you won't need a timed entry reservation if you enter the park outside of the hours that they are checking for those. And so if you're going anywhere in the park besides Bear Lake, you can enter the park before 9 a.m. or after 2 p.m. without one of these reservations. If you're hoping to get into Bear Lake, then you'll need to enter the Bear Lake Road area before 5 a.m. or after 6 p.m. when they're no longer checking for reservations. So that is a good way to get around this system if you are not able to get the reservation that you need. There are also a few things that you can book within the national park itself that will count as your timed entry reservation. But it does get a little bit tricky, and there are not very many options. This park doesn't have a whole lot within the park that you can book. But some of these things include, so if you're camping within the park, if you are camping on the east side of the park, so Aspen Glen, Glacier Basin, Moraine Park, if they get that one open this year, which that one's still kind of in the air, but any of those ones will give you a timed entry plus reservation for the time that you're camping, starting at 1 p.m. on the day that your reservation starts. So that's a good way to get in there. If you're camping on the other side of the park at Timber Creek, then that one gets you just a basic park entry timed reservation. A few other options, if you are horseback riding with Glacier Creek, then that will get you a timed entry plus reservation starting 2 hours before your tour time. You can also, if you're going backpacking, you can get wilderness permits that will count as your timed entry reservation. And you can bike into the park. You don't need a reservation for that. Or you can take the hiker shuttle, which requires an extra ticket. You do need to book that in advance, but that will get you into the Bear Lake area of the park if you have a hiker shuttle ticket. Other than that, you will need that timed entry reservation. So if you don't have any of those other things, just plan on going through this process. If you're not able to get what you need, if you get there and everything is sold out, everything's already gone, then be aware that they do release another round of these entrance reservations the night before you want to go into the park at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. So you can go through this whole process again the night before if you're not able to get them further in advance. And then again, your other options to kind of work around this are to enter outside of the hours that the reservation is needed, or to book one of those other activities within the park. So a few different options there. If you need help with any of this, I am here. You can go to dirtinmyshoes.com to get a whole bunch of free resources on Rocky Mountain National Park. And then if you want my specific help getting these reservations, you can watch a walkthrough video of me getting the reservations, and I will tell you hour by hour where I would be in the park. Then check out that Rocky Mountain itinerary on my website at dirtinmyshoes. I hope that this video is helpful for you and that you're able to get what you need. And I hope that you get some dirt in your shoes at Rocky Mountain National Park this summer.